أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
You're welcome. Inshallah, today, without wasting our time, you have to read from the beginning of Suratul Qiyāmah. Yes. So you read from the beginning, then we complete the surah, inshallah. Okay?
إن شاء الله.
Now,
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
now,
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
now.
لا أقسم بيوم القيامة
Yeah.
ولا أقسم بالنفس اللوامة.
Yeah.
أيحسب الإنسان أن لن نجمع عظامه.
Yeah.
بلى قادرين على أن نسوي بنانه. بل يريد الإنسان ليفجر أمامه. يسأل أيان يوم القيامة. فإذا برق البصر
بصر.
وخسف.
بصر. تفخيم.
نعم. فإذا برق البصر وخسف القمر وجمع الشمس والقمر.
You have to work on your pronunciation.
يقول.
Sin, sin, s. وجمع
نعم.
الشمس والقمر.
نعم.
شمس. Hmm.
وجمع الشمس والقمر.
The sin, sin, sin. وجمع الشمس. شمس. سو. سو.
أوكي. وجمع الشمس والقمر. وجمع الشمس والقمر.
والقمر.
يقول.
والقمر. You make a roof for your mouth when pronouncing a raw with a sukun and the situation of tafkhim. You understand? You create a
نعم.
roof in your mouth and you fill the roof up with air. والقمر. قمر.
نعم.
Hmm.
نعم.
Your mouth will form a sphere.
وجمع. نعم. وجمع الشمس والقمر. يقول الإنسان يومئذ أين المفر.
أين المفر? The raw will be intensified a bit because it has a shadda. It's different from
نعم.
Omar. That one is light, no shadda. But this one has a shadda. أين المفر? Now,
يقول الإنسان يومئذ أين المفر.
now.
كلا لا وزر.
كلا لا
إلى.
وزر. Zai. Z. Can you say it after me? Z. Z. No, you are not getting it. Z, z, z. As in zoo, zoo, zoo. Can you say zoo?
زو.
Aha, you've got it now. كلا
كلا.
لا وزر.
كلا لا وزر.
Z. It's more or less like that as you are pronouncing it. Your pronunciation
نعم.
is very identical with that instead of z. كلا لا وزر. لا وزر.
ز- ز- كلا لا وزر.
You still have to work on that z. Uh, z, z, z. Can you say it?
Z-
Z.
z-
No, no.
z. Will
Z,
I?
z.
Is it that I will open the tooth or I
Z.
will I will close it?
No, the teeth do not have any role to play in the pronunciation of z. Z. It's just the second of s. They are pronounced in the same place of articulation. S. Z. The only difference is z vibrates and s doesn't. Okay?
Okay.
So you use the tip of your tongue. The tip of your tongue, you raise it to meet the alveolar ridge, the upper part of the mouth,
Okay.
the gum of the mouth, shortly before the teeth, up. That is
Okay.
where you use to pronounce
Well,
it.
well,
Z, z. The
mhm.
tip of your tongue, I mean the blade part of that tip
Now,
part. You glue it to the upper part of the mouth. كلا لا وزر. Now,
كلا لا وزر.
وزر وزر.
وزر.
Mhm. كلا لا وزر.
كلا لا وزر.
أيوة. Mhm. Can you say it two more times?
كلا لا وزر.
أيوة.
كلا لا وزر.
أيوة. Mhm. Go on.
إلى ربك يومئذ المستقر.
Okay.
ينبأ الإنسان يومئذ بما قدم وأخر.
Hmm. يومئذ
بل
بي. يومئذ بي. That is a collab. Hmm. You see, some processes happen when you pronounce a ba in this kind of situation, or let me say a nonosakina or tenwin. Okay, can you mention the six letters of sorry, there are four rules for nonosakina and tenwin: izhar, ikhfa, eqlab, and idgham. So eqlab has only one letter, which is ba. So we only do eqlab of nonosakina or tenwin in the presence of a ba after it. So here now we have yauma izin, that is tenwin, followed by a ba. So the process that takes place there is that you will have to change the noun to a meme in your pronunciation. Okay? So instead of saying
نعم.
zin, you now say zim, zim. But the difference is that you will not actually pronounce that meme. The noun has changed to a meme now. So, and you will not actually pronounce the meme. Because if you were to actualize the pronunciation of meme, you know the two lips will meet. Abi? Mm. The two lips will meet.
نعم.
But in this situation now, you will not allow them to meet, but you prepare for the pronunciation. So in the long run, you just pronounce a ba. So you say yauma idin as if you wanted to pronounce a meme, right? But at the end of the day, you pronounce a
Okay.
ba. Yauma
You.
idin bi. Yauma
نعم.
idin bi. Can you say it?
نعم. يومئذ به.
Ayyuha. That's why it's usually represented with a small name in the Mus'haf. You say it in the Mus'haf, small name.
نعم.
Instead of sukun, they will not put a sukun there. You just say the noun, but on top of the noun, instead of sukun, you say the small name. That is, it is meme-like in pronunciation. They are pronounced in the same place
نعم.
of articulation. So, go on.
ينبأ الإنسان يومئذ بما قدم وأخر.
I still have an observation on how you pronounce it. Yauma izin bi. يومئذ بي ذنب not ذنب.
ذنب. ذنب.
أيوة ينبأ الإنسان.
ينبأ الإنسان يومئذ بما قدم وأخر.
وآخر.
وأخر.
Good.
Should I proceed or I should repeat it?
Okay. That is where we stopped.
Like should I proceed with the repeating the verse or should
No,
I
no,
just continue?
no. Just continue to the next verse.
All
To the next.
right. بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة
Okay.
ولو ألقى معاذيره
Yeah.
لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به
نعم.
إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه.
وقور. وقور. I still have a problem with your pronunciation of ra in the situation of uh, you see, I do give my students some tips regarding this, and the tips include the fact that whenever you want to pronounce a raw, most of us do have pronunciation issue as far as raw is concerned. We might find it difficult to pronounce it, but there is a trick that you will use when reciting the Quran to be able to actualize the pronunciation correctly. It is that one, if the raw has a fatha or duma, let your mouth form a kind of round shape. Okay, so then if it is a duma, you push the lips forward. You push them forth. That is forward. So you say, ooh, ooh,
Oh,
ooh, ooh,
okay.
mhm. وقرآنه وقرآنه إن
He
عليه.
said when it has doma or sunkun,
No, when it has a duma.
okay,
Or
I put the lip
yes, when
up.
it has a doma, like you push the lips forward after
Ru,
rounding the
ru.
lips. You now push them.
Okay,
The same thing applies to
ru.
when it is in the case of tefkhim, preceded by doma. So
Okay.
u, u,
Waku, kuru,
waku.
wakuru.
You see the shape of the
Okay. Now, inna alayna jam'ahu wa
waku.
wakuru.
MashaAllah.
Wakuru. Inna alayna jam'ahu wa qur'anah.
Aywa.
فإذا قرأناه فاتبع قرآنه.
فاتبع.
فاتبع قرآنه.
أيوة.
فإذا قرأناه فاتبع قرآنه.
أيوة.
ثم إن علينا ثم إن علينا بيانه.
MashaAllah.
Nah, that's where I stopped.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, I will read now. You listen to me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. كلا بل تحبون العاجلة وتذرون الآخرة. You see, وتذرون
Nah,
الآخرة.
nah,
وجوه يومئذ ناظرة. Woo, woo. I had a friend some times ago. He would say, "Who you?" So because woo is a semi-vowel sound, It's more or less like a vowel.
Now,
So if care is not taken, you pronounce it as u. So ensure that the two leaves meet. Bu.
now,
وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة. The first one is the, and the second one is the. They are different.
now,
وجوه
the
يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة ووجوه يومئذ باسرة تظن أن يفعل بها فاقرة كلا إذا بلغت التراقي. Can you explain the reason why I said and not taraqiya? Hmm?
Rocky.
The In the Mus'haf there is a fatha on the ya, right?
Now,
But I said taraqi, not qiya. Why?
because we just we stop there. So
Mhm.
suppose we want to continue, then we call Tarokiya Waqila Man.
Aywa. But you've not been able to pinpoint the point I needed.
Okay.
Okay. Whenever we recite, we stop on sukun in Arabic. When we speak Arabic, we stop on sukun. Okay. So if it has a fatha, a kasra, or a dhamma, and we are stopping on it, we change it to a sukun. Just like when you say, bima qaddama wa akhkharu. Instead of wa akhkharu, you say wa akhkharu, giving it a sukun because
Mm.
we're stopping on it. So in this case now, we have taraqiya, and we are to change it to a sukun because we are stopping on it. Taraqi, uh, changing it to a sukun preceded by a kasra, that now makes it an elongation mark. It becomes a yawmadu. So that's why we say taraqi and not taraqiya. So when you connect it to the next verse, as you said and demonstrated earlier, then we say taraqiya. كلا
Now,
إذا بلغت التراقي وقيل من راق. Okay.
now,
كلا إذا بلغت التراقي وقيل من راق. We stop on that man. That's how Hafs read it. If it is
okay.
Waksh, then we continue. We do not stop on the nun. In the Mus'haf of Hafs, you will see a scene, small scene on top of the nun. Man, that indicates a brief pause. A brief pause. In fact, you will not
Which
breathe.
is compulsory.
It is compulsory. You don't even need to breathe. Because if you breathe, if you pause and breathe, then the pause will be too much. وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقَ. It's different from saying وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقَ. You get the difference now. So we call it a sacked. A sacked. The one you're supposed to do here is called a sacked. But if you pause and breathe, it will become al-waqf. Al-waqf.
Now,
They are different in Arabic. Okay. وَقِيلَ مَنْ راق وظن أنه الفراق والتفت الساق بالساق إلى ربك يومئذ المساق. You see, إلى ربك يومئذ. Yawma idhin, we now have al-masaq. In Arabic, when you have this kind of situation whereby a tanween is followed by alif and lam, the alif is hamzatul wasl because it
Now,
does not actually have any small head of ayn on top. So it is
now,
hamzatul wasl. It doesn't have a particular haraka. So it depends on its situation. It has its own ruling in Nahu, in Sarfu, and in Tajweed. So you
now.
now we have to get rid of these two sukuns. Yauma idhin, it is ending with non sakina, that is the tanwin, it's a sukun. Al-masak is starting with another sukun. In order to get rid of the mating of two sukuns, which is prohibited, it is an abomination in Arabic. No two sukun can mate. It's either you eliminate one of them, or by changing one to a haraka, or at times they give birth to an intensive madu lazim, as in the case of wala dallin. But in this kind of situation, what you do is yawma idhin, you give it a kasra. Instead of saying yawma idhin, you now change the sukun of n to ni. Yawma idhinil masaq. Yawma
If there is,
idhinil masaq. Now,
I have a question.
okay, okay.
Is it the ruling is iltiqa is sakini, right?
Iltiqa
And
sakin.
and is it is it that it takes only Kestrel, it can take Tenwin as well.
Or actually, in the rewire of Warsh, I mean, Hafs, the one we are adopting now. So that's how it is read. We change it to a kasra. Just
And
to,
Kestrel with Tenwin, right?
no, you don't. You see, kasra and tenwin cannot stay together. It's either you give it a kasra or you give it a tenwin. But in this case now, because of the al that follows it, you give it a kasra, not tenwin any longer. So it is that tenwin that gives birth to kasra in this case. If you say zin, what is the last thing you pronounce? Zin.
Sokon, then.
Sukun. Sukun. Now you give that nun taking the sukun, you give it a kasra. So that no two sukun
Okay.
meet.
Okay. Let's say, for instance, now, let's say that I have idhab and bait, and I want to call it together. So I will say idhab il bait.
Of course, that is when you are connecting them. You though there cannot be izhab bait because izhab requires the mediation of harf with jak before you can add another now. Anyway, so assuming they mate like that, you instead of saying izhab with a sukun, you now change that sukun to a kasra. You now say izhabi, such as uh for example, talking about looking for a verb we can use in that case, like nadhif, that is clean, albeit, clean, albeit. So in this case now, we have nadhif ending with a sukun and albeit starting with a sukun. You now change the sukun of nadhif to a kasra. You see, nadhifil bait. That's it. Okay.
So for this Yauma Idin, why is it not taking only Kestrel and it's taking Tenwin?
Of course, that's in the field of Nahu. You are moving,
Okay.
gliding into Nahu. So because in Nahu there is what we call tanweenul iwad. Tanweenul iwad. A tanween used to replace something else. It could replace a letter, it could replace a noun, a word, and it could even replace a jumla, an expression. So Allah subhanahu wa
Okay.
ta'ala is talking about a particular day. Kalla idha balagati taraqi, talking about an incident that will happen on a particular day. وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقَ وَظَنَّ أَنَّهُ الْفِرَاقَ, when one is departing from this life. Those are the things that will happen then. So Allah is now saying, إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ, to your Lord, يَوْمَ إِذٍ, instead of saying يَوْمَ إِذْ balagoti تراقيا وقيل من راق وظن أنه الفراق والتفت الساق بالساق. You see all these sentences, we now use idin, that tenwin, the tenwin in idin, we now use that
Mm.
to replace all of them. That is part of the
Okay.
beauties of Arabic. Very sweet.
جزاكم الله خير.
Yeah.